Chapter 4, a red book. Red book, Chapter 4, funding structure and expeditionary accounts. This chapter presents funds and expenditure account numbers related to definitions. Note the function and object code field sizes are 4 and 3 characters respectively. The state does not currently require the direct coding of the third and fourth characters of the function codes or the third character of the object codes, but specifically such coding in the future. Funds. A fund is an official accounting entity within self-balancing set of accounts. If record changes in cash, other financial resources, together with related liabilities, residual equities, and residual equities and balances. Funds are segregated for the purpose of carrying or specific activities attaining certain objectives in accordance with special regulations, restrictions, limitations of the NCGA Statement 1 in paragraph 2. A code 00X permanent funds description is permanent funds should be used to account for the report resources that are restricted to the extent of that only earnings, not principal, must be used for the purpose of support of the government programs. This benefits of the government or its citizenry of the GSASB 54 paragraph 35. Code 100, General Fund. The General Fund should be used to account for reporting all financial resources not accounted for and reported in another fund at GSAB 54, paragraph 29. The 2XX Debit Services Fund. The debit services funds are used to account for and report on financial resources that are restricted, committed, and assigned to expenditures for the principal and interest. Debit services funds should be used to report resources if legally mandated financial resources are being accumulated by the principal, interest, and maturing of the future arrears, as should be reported in debit service funds. The GSAB 54, paragraph 34. 210. The School Board of Education and COBI bonds issued by the school board of education on the behalf of the school district under Section 9 of the Article 7 of the state constitution. 220. Special act bonds. Bonds and revenue certificates issued by the school of the district pursuant to the authority granted by the special acts of legislator. 230. Section 1011.14 and 1011.15 federal state loans, Florida state loans. Loans negotiated under the authority decided by the statutory provisions. 240. Motor vehicle revenue bonds. Bonds issued under the expired authority. 250. District bonds. Bonds issued by the school district and authorized by a vote of the people of the school district. 291 and 298. Other debit services. 299. American Recovery Reinvestment Act of Economic Stimulus Debit Services. Services of the ARRA School Construction Bonds. 3XX Capital Project Fundings. Capital Project Fundings are used to account for and report principals, resources, restricted, restricted, the resources that are restricted, committed, or assigned to expenditures of the capital outlays, including the acquisition, construction of capital facilities or other capital aspects of the GSAB 54, paragraph 33. 310. The COBI, State of Florida Capital Outlying Bond Issuances. Capital out bond issuances to COBI, and the state of Florida issues are for capital outlay bond issues are used to financial capital projects. The projects include construction of the new school, including capital equipment, and additions to the existing schools. Title 320. Special acts and bonds. Special acts and bonds, including racing commission revenue bonds, are used to finance the capital projects, which vary the purpose depending on specification of the bond issues. 330. Section 1011.14 and 1011.15 filler state loans. Short-term 1-year loans for the capital projects may be renewed by the district school board up to 4 times. Long-term emergencies may be secured for the capital projects to address a roof that has been destroyed, or refrigeration equipment that is no longer functional, for example. 340. Public Educational Capital Outlay, PICO, on the gross recipient tax used to finance the capital projects. District bonds. 350. District bonds. Bonds issued would result in referendum passed by the voters are used to finance these capital projects. Most bonds are issued in the construction of new schools, but any capital project approved with the voters may be financed at these bonds. 360. Capital outlay and debit services, CO and DSs. Capital outlay and debit services, the school district allocation of the state of Florida of the capital outlet and debit services programs is used to fund this projects such as construction of new schools, including capital equipment in addition additions to existing schools. 3.7 Non-voted capital improvement fund district school tax section 1011.71 2 Florida state statutes. A tax levied on the district school board against taxable value of the property is used to finance projects adversely for the expenditure pursuant to the authority. Subfunds may be used for each of the fiscal year levied to account the revenues, expenditures, unexpected amounts. 380 The voted capital improvement fund. A tax of up to $1 million may be levied to capital projects for up to 2 years, pursuant to Section 1011.731 Florida State statutes if voted in the qualified electors of the school district. 39 through 391 through 398 Other capital projects funded by the other sources, including class size reduction form funding from the state of Florida, half cent sales tax revenue district school board referendum approved of the voted pursuant to section 212.055.6 of the Florida State Statute, 1 cent intergovernmental local state tax revenue referendum group of local governments approved for the voters pursuant of section 212.055 for state statutes lease purchase agreements. 399 American Recovery Reinvestment Act of the Economic Stimulus Capital projects funded by the ARRA related to construction, renovation, and remodeling. 4XX Special Revenue Funds. Special revenue funds are used in account to report the proceeds of special revenue funds as they're restricted committed to the expenditures for the specified purposes other than debit services or capital projects. Special revenue funds should not be used to account the resource held to trust the individual's private organization or other governments. Florida school districts should disclose the notes financial statements for the purpose of each major special revenue, identifying the revenues. Other resources are reported in each of the other funds. Those funds, Florida school districts should report the federal category aid or in food services as special revenue funds. 410 food services, 420 other federal programs, 430 federal economic stimulus programs. Select federal funds to be disbursed through the state and receive federal direct grants due to the unprecedented scope of the importance of the federal programs. The special revenue funds are subject to the additional more rigorous reporting requirements that normally apply to the federal programs. The federal grant that fall under the special revenue grouping of including the ARRA, the race to the top of the Grant Education Jobs Act, and the funds listed below the ARRA grants other stimulus package programs. 432 Targeted American Recovery Reinvestment Act Stimulus Funds. Stimulus funds targeted to specific programs including Title I and the IDEA. 43 of the other American Recovery and Reinvestment Act Stimulus grants. Stimulus funds provided by the other purposes. These funds may be disbursed with the state received through a state or receive federal direct grants. 434 American Recovery Reinvestment ACE of the race to the top. Stimulus grant award for the Florida to the purpose of achieving three key goals. The student achievement are 1. Double the percentage of income high school freshmen who ultimately graduate from the high school go on to the college achieve at least a year's worth of college credit. 2. The college achievement gap in half to 2015. Increase the percentage of students scoring at the above proficiency of the National Assessment Educational Progress by 2015 beyond the performance levels of the highest performance states. 435 Educational Job Act, a federal program to save the credit, create educational jobs founded by the under this program includes the provided educational related services for early childhood, elementary, secondary education at the school level. 491 through 499 miscellaneous special revenues. 7 XX Internal Service Funds established an account for any activity funds established to account for any activity with the school district that provides good services for the other funds, department, agencies of the primary government, and its component use of other governments on a cost reimbursement basis. Usually, Internal Services Fund by the appropriate other school districts is predominant percent into activity. 711 through 715 Self Assurance, 731 Consortment Program, 791 Other Internal Services. 8XX Fiduciary Funds. Fiduciary funds. Funds used for the reporting resources held on the school district in a trustee or agency capacity for other, therefore cannot be used to support the school district's own programs. 840 through 849 investment trust funds. 850 through 859 private trust funds. 870 through 879 pensions or other employee benefits trust funds. 891 school internal funds. 892 through 899 agency funds. The 9XX the fund may be enterprising funds. The fund may be used accounting for the activity for which this fee is charged, the external use of the goods and services enterprise fund and required to use the account of any activity. The principal revenue sources meeting any following criteria debited this basic back solely the revenue fund from fees and charges, but they are not debited that is backed in the full faith of the credit of the school districts to the legal requirement to recover the cost of the fees and charges. 3. The policy decision of the governing board of the management to recover the cost of providing the services through the fees and charges. Some example of the enterprise activities such as bookstores, operation, actual athletic stadiums, a community swimming pool, and all public entry risk pools, self-assurance consortiums, and as are required to be accounted for as enterprise funds. 911 through 914, a self-assurance consortium. 915 ARRA consortium. 921 through 922, other enterprise programs. Object codes. We're on to object codes. Now, object classification, identification type of the good service obtained with the result, specific expenditures. 7 major object categories for expenses are identified and described in the handbook: salaries, employee benefits, purchase services, engineering services, materials and supplies, capital outlet, and other additional objects of the financial use, including the transfers between funds. The broad categories is divided to capture the more detailed information about the expenditures for the sub-object codes use the 2 or 3 characters in the 3-character field. The third character is reserved for the future specifications of state Florida, although the specified here in the second character in salary object codes is not required, but available for the school district consideration. The optional third character of 100, 200, and 600 object codes are provided in Appendix B. Code 100, description, salaries, amounts paid to the employees of the school system who are considered to be in a position of permanent nature, including the personnel under the written contract substituting individual permanent position. See Object 750, the personal services and temporary services. This includes gross salary, personnel services rendering while on the payroll of the district school board. Salaries shall be classified as follows. 1110 Administrator, person that administrates duties of the authority over the management policy, school district, or school operation, including and/or superintendent, deputy assistants, deputy associates, assistants, and our area superintendents, executive general directors, assistant directors, supervisors, coordinators, administrative special assignments, principals, assistant principals, curriculum coordinators, deans, and persons who carry out the job of responsibility indicating above with the alternative job title. 120 classroom teachers, staff members are assigned to the professional activity instruction of the student in the courses. 130 other certified, including all members and instructional staff, teachers, and described as defined in 1012.01 Florida State statutes, except for the classroom teachers. Their substitute examples include the primary specialist, guidance counselors, psychologists, occupational placement specialists, media specialists. Salaries of personnel serving in the position of the part-time classroom teaching and part-time primary specialist other roles shall be apportioned to the 2 objects. 140, a substitute teacher, person that substitutes for the classroom teachers either on a full-time or part-time basis. 150, paraprofessional, person who are paraprofessionals with supervision of classroom teachers, library paraprofessionals, and other school-level paraprofessionals. 170, other support personnel, including all district school board employees not listed in any other category. Examples include clerical, secretarial staff, technicians, transportation workers, custodians, cafeteria workers, accounts, architects, computers, programs, and nurses, skilled craftsmen, engineers, and mechanics, and unskilled laborers. 170 is the board of members and attorneys, person who serve on the district school board, members and individuals who are attorneys for the district school board. 200. Employee benefits. Amounts paid by the school system on the behalf of the employees. These amounts are not included in the gross salary. Such payments of the fringe benefits will not be paid directly to the employees. As part of the cost of employing staff, benefits should be identified in the function where the salaries are recorded. In special cases, the worker compensation functional prorated amount of the based on the approximate premium cost is required. 210. Retirement. Employee share of any state local employee retirement system paid on the school district, including the amount of the employees assigned for the federal programs. 220. The Federal Insurance Contribution Act, the FICA. Federal Insurance Contribution Act. Contribution to the employer shares of Social Security, Medicare for the school district and personnel, including the hourly personnel. 230. Group insurance expenditures to provide group insurance coverage, including life, health, accident insurance for school personnel. 240. Workmen's compensation expenditures to provide workmen's compensation coverages, employment compensation expenditures for the school district share of the unemployment compensation claims arising from the former employees. It claims that any year the material that costs distributed to function on the basis of salaries paid in the current year. If it claims that a immaterial, the cost may be charged to a function 7100. 290. Other employee benefits. Employee benefits other than classified above the fringe benefits, such as automobile allowance, housing-related supplements, moving expenditures, and paid parking. 300. Purchase services. Amounts paid for personal services rendered by the personnel who are not on the payroll of the district school board. Otherwise, services the board may be purchased. While the product may not result in the transaction, primary reason for the purchase is the service provided. 310. Professional technical services of the nature that can be performed only to a person with specialized skills and knowledge acquired for the intensive academic preparation, including the services of architects, engineers, auditors, dentists, medical doctors, lawyers, consultants, and accountants. 311. Sub-award and sub-agreements. First $25,000. For the sub-agreement reported, then professional technical services recorded for the first $25,000 of each sub-award. 312. Sub-awards under sub-agreements in excess of $25,000. For sub-agreements reported in professional technical services required for sub-awards excess of $25,000, regardless of the period covered in the grant sub-contract. And 320. Insurance bonds and premiums. Expenditure for all types of the insurance coverage other than the group of the insurance described in Object 230, such as priority liability, fidelity, and bond premiums. 330. Travel. The cost of transportation, meals, hotel, registration fees, other expenditures associated with the traveling of the business for the district school board. Per diem payments of the lieu, reimbursement for the substance room and the board, and reported for the travel expenditures also include the student travel authorized by the district school board. 350. Repairs and maintenance. Expenditure for the repairs and maintenance services not directly paid by the school district personnel. Expenditure for the repair and maintenance services not provided directly by the school district personnel. This includes contracts, agreements covering the upkeeping of grounds, buildings, and equipment costs for the new construction, renovations, remodeling, capital expenditures, and therefore are not included. Note that the equipment repair services direct content also specific programs within the FEFP shall charge the appropriate code for under the function of 5,000 instruction and equipment repair services rendered for the function 7,800 student transportation services 76 and function 7,600 food services shall be charged to the function routine maintenance of audio visual equipment should be charged to the function 6,200 instructional media services. All other equipment repairs may be charged to the function 8,100 maintenance of the plant. 360. Rentals. Expenditures for leasing or renting land, building, films, equipment, the bowl, temperature, long range, use of the school board. The object code includes annual fees charged for support maintenance of software and licenses, annual access for electronic devices, fees for the broadcasting rights, payments of the capital lease of not required in this account, but record as reduction of principal and recognition of the expenditures. 370. Communication Expenditures to provide telephone, cellular phone services posted for the district school board system. Telephone services shall be discharged in the function 7,900 operation of the plant. All other communication costs should be identified with the appropriate functions. 380. Public utility service other than energy services. Expenditure for the service usually provided to public utilities except for energy services. See Object 400. Examples include water, sewage, and garbage collection. Other proposed other purchase services, expenditure for all purchases, services not included, such as printing, binding, or reproduction, pest control, other non-professional purchase services, distribution to charter schools are also included in other purchase services. 391 subaward under sub-agreements. First 25,000 for sub-agreements reported of other purchase services recorded the first $25,000 of each sub-award. 329 sub-award agreements in excess of $25,000 of sub-agreement reported on other purchase record services recorded all sub-awards in excess of $25,000 regardless of the period covered in the grant of the subcontract. 400 energy services expenditure for various types of energy used by the school district should be classified as follows. 410 natural gas is natural gas used in the educational plant facilities. 412 the compressed natural gas used for the student transportation. 420 bottled gas is used in educational plant facilities. And 421 422 liquid petroleum gas, liquefied petroleum gas used for student transportation. 430 electricity. 440 heating oil. 450 gasoline. 460 diesel fuel. 490 other energy services. 500 materials and supplies amounts. This is the object code for the 500 material and supplies amounts paid for the items expenditure, nature, and consumed, worn out, deteriorated in the use of the items. Those their identity for the fabrication and incorporation is different from the more complex units and substances. 510 supplies expenditure for the consuming supplies of the operation of the school system, including the freight. Examples: expenditure for instructional custodial maintenance supplies. 520 textbooks. Expenditures for textbooks furnished free for the school district, including freight. Section 1640 FS. The category includes the cost of electronic media, e-books, workbooks, textbook binding, repair, and textbook-related materials. 530 periodical. For all periodic newspapers or periodical, any of the publication paper, the electronic appear with the regular intervals for or less than a year and continuing with the identified period. 550 oil and gas expenditure for oil and grease for all types of motor vehicles. 550 repair parts expenditure for the repair parts, antifreeze supplies used in the school district owns vehicles, studies, student transportation, otherwise, with the exception of the gas and oil, grease, gear, lubrications, and tire and tubes. 560 tire and tube expenditure for the tire and tube replacements, including recapping. If the labor is performed in the school district operated garage, costs should be recorded under salaries. 570 food expenditures, food purchases, market value of the USDA donated commodities for the use of the food service program. For the school district opting to use a simpler inventory system is also allowed by the USDA. Food and food products used in the instructional program should be charged to the materials supply object. 510. 580 commodities. Marketing the value of USDA donated commodities. School district opting note the use of single inventory system used also allowed by the USDA. 590 other materials, supplies, expenditures, all other supplies and materials not included above. 600 capital outlay. Expenditures, acquisition, capital assistance, additional capital assets, the expenditures for land, existing buildings, improvement of grounds, construction for the building, additional buildings, remodeling buildings, initial equipment, new replacement equipment, and off software. 610 library books. Expenditures and non-capitalized regular and incidental purchases of school library books, hard copy and electronic, available for generally by the use of students, including references, even though the reference book may be used solely in the classroom. Cost of the freight and school books, libraries books are included. 620 audiovisual materials, non-consumable expenditure for non-consumable materials such as film strips, recording exhibits, charged maps, globes, regardless of the cost, are charged to this account. 621 capitalized AV materials. 622 non-capitalized AV materials. 630 building and fixed equipment. All expenditures require the existing buildings to construct new buildings and additions. Construction costs of the buildings additions consistent with all expenditures for the general construction, advertisement, contracts, payments of the contracts for the construction, installation of the plumbing and heating, the lighting of the ventilation, electrical systems, built-in lockers, elevators, architectural and engineering services, travel expenditures, including the connection with the construction point and the paint, other interior, exterior decoration, and other costs connected with the planning, construction, buildings, in addition with the buildings. Additions buildings attending for the floor, while remodeling improvements usually take place at the existing floor area. 640 furniture and fixtures and equipment. Expenditure in additional items, equipment, the furniture, furnishing, and machinery, portable bleachers that are not integral parts of the building, but building or building service systems, including the category of the computer hardware, which is digital and electronic device capable of reading and processing, executing software designed for the administrative and instructional use. Also included are the tablets, e-readers, other portable devices. The term computer refers to not only the main processing unit, but also expansion cards, upgraded devices, peripherals such as operating system software, ROM-based installable memory processor use upgraded video board, sound cards, network connectivity board, and cards, other expansions, upgraded devices, monitors, printers, scanners, internal, external hard drives, CD-ROM drivers, plotters, modems, computer projection devices, additive hardware, and peripheral to the attachment of the main unit. Alright, 641, capitalized furniture, fixture, and equipment, non-capitalized furniture and fixture equipment, capitalized computer hardware, and non-capitalized computer hardware. 650, motor vehicles, expenditure for all types of motor vehicles. Buses are motor vehicles and regularly used in transportation of public schools and students to and from school and to or from school activities. Exporting motor vehicles of the type commonly called pleasure cars, and they carry 8 students or fewer. See section 1006.225 Filler State Statute. 651, a bus. Buses purchased on low capital improvement revenue should be recorded in the capital projects. All other purchases should be recorded in general fund. 652, other motor vehicles. 660, land expenditures purchased any land of the school district, any initialary charges to prepare the land for its intended use. Examples of initialary charges include the rights to the right-of-way site of preparation, attorney fees, and professional fees. Oh, that's the land. 670, improvements of other front buildings, construction costs, the permanent improvements, addition, other buildings, addition consistent of all expenditures, general construction, advertisement of the contract payments, and construction. Examples for such improvements: the excavating field, and degrading, and utility installation, side shrubs, fences, and retaining wall, sidewall, sewage treatment systems, original expanded paving projects, initial purchases, fixed playground equipment, the flagpole, gateways, underground storage tanks that are not part of the building service systems. If the improvement of the purchase as constructive purchase of the contract price related should be reported. If the improvements to be obtained of the gift, the fair market value, time of the acquisition should be recorded, including under this classification permitting breaches required by the footings and foundations in use, swimming pools, including necessary filtering, plumbing equipment. 671, capitalized improvements other than buildings, fixed assets, records, capital assessments, assets, account 1320. Improvements other than buildings, examples: sidewalks, parking lots, driveways, retaining walls, sewage, training treatment plants, fences, underground storage tanks, and fixed playground equipment. 672, non-capitalized improvement for the other buildings, fixed assets, recorded the capital assessment. Assets account 1315, land improvements. Non-depreciable example is include excavation, filling, grading, utility installation, and landscaping demolition. 680, remodeling, renovations, expenditures for the major permanent structure and alteration, initial installation, heating, ventilation systems, electrical system, plumbing, seating, fire protection system, other service systems, existing buildings, renovations, and should be capitalized. Installation of the replacement should be capitalized. Replaced systems should be removed for the accounting records of the remodeling projects. The capitalized remodeling improvement of the building usually takes place of the existing floor area of the building addition with the extended for the floor area. See section 1013.0117 and 18 federal Florida state laws. Repairs of the building services and are classified under the function 8100, maintenance of a plant. 6081, capitalized remodeling, renovations, fixed assets, recorded capital assistance account, and 1330, building fixed equipment. Examples including pertinent structures, relocatable modular fixed furniture, sprinkler systems, electrical systems, water system, heating, cooling, air circulation, and roofing. 682, non-capitalized remodeling, renovation purchases that will be not capitalized. 690, computer software. Alright, 690, computer object code. 690, computer software, the set of the programs, associated documentation used to control the operation of the computer. The two primary types of software is: one, system software, which includes operating systems, programming language, utility programs. Two, application programs, which are designed to perform tasks such as database management, spreadsheet functions, instruction, word processing. Generally, the software is acquired for the computer hardware for the single purchase of the price of relative value of the software's material total cost and necessary to allocate the acquisition to both software software hardware in accordance with the GAAP for lump sum and basket purchases. However, the system software, in accordance with the conjunction of the computer hardware, may be recorded as part of the equipment purchase and no allocation cost of software when the software will not be removed, transferred in any way, separated from the original hardware. In the event of the software that was originally recorded as equipment is subsequently removed, transferred, detached of the original hardware, it would be necessary to retroactively allocate a portion of the original cost of the material to the software, the proper recording, the removal of the transfer. See Object 360 for the annual license expenditure, including with the computer software, the enterprise resources software, which consists of the program application used at district-wide administrative school districts, used complete with the state-mandated reporting requirements for such software, includes the use of district-wide to account coordinated with the resource and information related to such as financial, human resource information, student access records, but does not include the instructional software. The software must be accepted or must be classified as a capital asset in accordance with the GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standard Board Statement 51, accounting financial reporting intangible assets having use of life of at least 5 years. 1691 capitalized software, 692 non-capitalized software, 700 other. Amounts paid for the goods and services not previously classified. This includes expenditure for the right of the debt and payment of the interest of the debt, judgments against the school system, payment of the dues, fees, 710, and redemption of principals, expenditure for the current fee funds and retirement of the obligations, interest, expenditure for the current funds and for interest of the liability. Obligations also include amortization for the net carrying about the debit funding. 730, dues and fees. Expenditure, dues, and fees include the due to the paid to the professional organization determined with the district school board policies and procedures, also including our tuition and fees for employees training in the activities, administrative fees paid to the original to their other organization, fees and relative issuance services of debt, amortization of period insurance associated with issuance of debt, loan origination fees, indirect costs of the operating leases, commission for the collection of taxes. 740, judgment settlements of litigation against the school system, expenditures for current funds of all judgments accepted as is indicated against the school system that are not covered in the issuances. Judgments against the school system resulting from failure to bill and debit services are required under the appropriate expenditures accounts for that through the bills and debit services that have been paid when due. Supplemental settlements of the litigation should be also recorded in this account. 750, other personal services. Salaries paid to the person, including substitute teachers not under the written contract on temporary appointment. These services may be in lieu of the rendered absent regular employee or other certain creation of the temporary additional capacity authorized in the district school board. The annual budget scale should anticipate the payment of such compensation. Payments made with these funds are not subject to retirement deductions. See definition of temporary position for the retirement purposes in Rule 600 Statute 6S, Rule 60S 1.045 federal administrative codes. However, the federal income tax must be withheld in accordance with the withholding tables. Other personal services may be budgeted in any responsibility. 760, payments of the refunding escrow agent. The payments accrued and pursuant to the refunding of the contract. 761, payments of refunded bonds, accrued agents. 762, for payments of refunded lease purchases agreements and escrow agencies. 770, claims. Expenditure of internal services to settle claims of the participation funds and agencies. 780, the depreciation and amortization expense of the period of the cost of the capital assessed, the charge to expense during a particular period. See balance sheet in accounts 1329, 1339, 1349, 1359, 1379, 1388, 1389. Those are depreciation amortization expenses. Miscellaneous 790, miscellaneous subject number 790, miscellaneous expenditures that cannot be assigned to any other category should be charged to this account, including and/or expenditures of the federal indirect costs for the projects which should be assigned to the function 7200 general administration food service indirect costs, which is assigned to 7600 food and services. 8 object code 810, loss and disposition of assets. The excess or carrying value of disposed assets is financial involving generated for the disposition of assets. 890, discount on long-term debt. The amount of discount required in the connection with the issuance of the long-term debt after the conversion of the discount of the government-wide financial statement presentation. The unamortized discount is netted with the liability. Amortization of the discount increases interest expenses. 891, discount of sale of bonds. 892, discount of refund bonds. 893, discount of lease purchase agreements. 894, discounting refund and lease purchase agreements. 90, transfers. No reciprocal interfunded activity represented by disbursement of cash and funds from one fund within the school district to another fund without an equivalent return without requirement for repayment. Those are transfers. 99010 transfers to general fund. Amounts disbursed to general funds with no return or requirement for payment. 92 transfer to debt service funds. Amounts disbursed to the debt service funds with no return requirement payment. 930 transfer the capital project funds. Amounts disbursed to capital project funds with no return of requirement for payment. 940 transfers of special revenue funds. Amounts dispersed in special revenue funds with no return or requirement for repayment. 950 interfunded transfers. Amounts disbursed to funds with the same and fund type with no return requirement for payment. 960 transfer the permanent funds. Amounts disbursed in permanent funds with no return requirement for repayment. 970 transfers to internal service funds. Amounts disbursed in internal service funds with no return requirement for payment. 990 transfers in enterprise funds. Amount disbursed in enterprise funds with no recurring requirement for repayment. All right, a function. Function classification indicates overall purpose. The objective of expenditure functions are group-related activities aimed to accomplish a major services regulatory responsibility. The activities of the local school system are classified into 5 board areas: instruction, instructional support, general support, community services, non-program, charges, debt services, and transfers. The 4-character field required for the function codes does not currently specify third and fourth characters. The sub-function codes presently identified in 6177 are recommended but not required. The following expenditures should be classed by function as indicated below: employee benefits and functions. Employee health, life, and accident. Identify all allocate the employee function on the basis that reflects on the cost incidences. Cafeteria benefits, identifying allocated employee function on the basis that reflects cost incidences. Work compensation, identifying allocated employment and function in the CP, page 4 through 6, on the basis that reflects on the cost incidences. Unemployment compensation, identifying allocated employment function of C4, page 4 through 6, on the basis that reflects on the cost incidences, and the material expenditure may be charged to the C function 7100. Insurances, property, C section function 7900, boiler section function 7900, casualty, general liability, and automobile section 900, casualty, student transportation function 7800, fidelity bonds function 710. And code 5000, description, instruction. Code 5000, instruction includes the activities dealing directly with the teacher, students, and other interactions between the teacher and students. Teachers may be provided for the students in school, classroom, and other locations such as home, hospital, and other learning environments such as those involving curricular activities. It may also be provided through some other pre-approved medium such as television, radio, computer, internet, multimedia, telephone, or correspondence. The function includes the activities for professionals and assistants at any type of who assist the instructional process. Student transportation costs, including the trips, the co-curricular activities, should be coded to function 7800. 5100 basic FEFP K through 12. Basic program is part of the district school board's full-time equivalent FTE, full-time equivalent instructional program that is not identified as a special program for expectational students. Career education, adult general education programs for the student as risk in English for speakers or other languages are included in this function. 5200 exceptional programs, exceptional student education ESEs are determined by the law. Critical for each program and specified by the school board education rules. The function includes the pre-K and ESEs, exceptional student educations. 5300 career educational program established with the law, provide with program and criteria established for the stated board of education rules. This function includes the 912 career educational adult vocational education continuing workforce development, if it includes including continuing workforce education expenditures related to the course fees collected by the reported under the accounting of 346 continuing workforce education course fees. 5400 the adult general courses offerings including GED courses and testing. 5,500 pre-kindergarten programs expenditure, including VPK and child care programs. If supported, it should be coded in this function. 9,100 project or cost centers accounting must be needed for such programs in order to capture support for cost. 590 other instructions not qualified by the FEFP. Functions such as instructional provided to recreation, leisure courses, lifelong learning programs, and adult with disability programs. 6,000 instructional support provided administrative, technical, such as guidance and health, logistics support of the facility, enhancement instructional support services existing and as a junction fulfillment of the behavioral objectives of the instruction and function rather than separate entities. Although some supplies operational costs are generated in instructional support, the major cost will be personnel. 6,100. 6,100 is a instructional support service, but is student personnel services. Activities that are designed to assess and improve well-being of the students to supplement the teacher's process. These activities are classifiable under the following sub-functions. 6110, attending and social work, pertains to promoting and improving attendance of students. Includes early identification of patterns of non-attendance, promotion of the positive students and parents' attitudes and towards attendance, and analysis of reasons for non-attendance, enforcement of the compulsory attendance. 6120, guidance services, pertain to the help of the students that assess, understand their abilities, aptitudes, interests, and environmental factors, educational needs, developing their understanding of educational career opportunities, optimizing educational career opportunities through the formulation of realistic goals, including the counseling students, parents' evaluation abilities of the students, helping students making their own educational career plans, choices, and assisting students in making personal and social adjustments to working with other staff members to plan, conduct, and guidance services. 6130, health services, pertaining to physical and mental services that are non-direct instruction. The functions include activities such as providing the students with appropriate medical schools, clinic, dental, physical, psychiatric, and nurse services. 6140, psychological services. These are included. The professional services are psychologists for the students' test analysis, mental diagnosis. The function pertains to supplementing the school system reserved for the information identifying the individual capacity, achievements, interests, and needs for each of the students. Students are individually classifying who are experiencing acute problems of educational development in order to furnish the diagnostics information suggesting programs concerning the psychological aspects of these problems. 6150, parental involvement. The function primarily relates to the federal projects that require the parent participation as requirements of the grant. 6190, other student personnel services. Students personnel services not classified elsewhere in the 6100 subfunctions. This would include positions such as diagnostic child defining specialists. In preparing the program and the cost report, the specialist should be identified with an appropriate FEFP program that uses the school and program tables. 6200, instructional media services. Object code 6200, instructional media services. Activities concerned with directing, managing, supervising educational media services as well. Such activities selecting, acquiring, preparing, cataloging, circulating books, other printed materials, planning for the use of the library by students, teachers, and other members of the instructional staff, guiding individuals in their use of library books, references, guides, materials, catalog materials, special collections, and other materials, whether maintained separately or as part of the instruction materials center. These activities included developing, acquiring library materials, and operating library facilities. Textbooks are not charged to this function, but rather to the instructional function. This includes the printed and non-printed sensory materials, schools, media center, school library, central media center operations for tune, repair, maintenance, and audio-visual equipment should be coded into this function. 6300, instructional curricular development services. Activities designed to aid the teachers in developing the curriculum, preparing using special curriculum materials, understanding the appropriation of the various techniques to stimulate and motivate the students, including this function as following the instructions. As supporting specialist primary technology, learning resources, behavioral, and in preparing the program cost report, these specialists should be identified with the appropriate FEFP programs that use the school and program tables. 6400, instructional staff training services. Activities designed to contribute to the professional occupational growth or competence of the members of the instructional staff as defined in rules in 6A1 0.502 Florida Administrative Code. Non-certified instructional personnel, CA 10503 Florida Administrative Code, defining the qualified instructional personnel during the time of the service to the district school board of the school. Among these activities are workshops, demonstrations, school visits, courses for the college credits, sabbatical leave, travel, and leave. All in-service training, the costs that should be recorded in this function 7730, non-instructional hiring, substituting teachers to cover the class for the teachers participating in training, and the cost of in-service training it should be coded in the function 6400. Paraprofessional training should be coded in the function 7730. 6500 instructional related technology activities and services for the purpose of supporting instruction. These activities include expenditure for the internal technology support as well as supported and provided external vendors using the operating funds. The activities including associated with the administrative supervision, technology, personnel system, planning analysis system, application data development system, operation network supporting services, hardware maintenance supporting services, technology related costs, the related support, instructional activities, specifically costs associated with the operation and supported the computer learning lab, media center, computer labs, instructional technology centers, instructional networks. Similar operations should be captured under this code. 700 objective code 700 general support services activities concerned with establishing policy, operating schools, the school system, providing the essential facilities, services for the staff and students. 7100 board consists of the activities elected by the appointed body that has been created according to the state law vested with the responsibility for educational activities and given an administrative unit. Also included are inspectors of the board, attorney, expenditure for the other legal services, independent auditors, internal auditors who report directly to the district school board, negotiators, and lobbyists. 720 general administration, superintendent office. Activities performed by the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and general direction of the management of all affairs of the school system. This includes all personnel, materials of the office of superintendent, all activities, offices of the debit superintendent, associated assistant superintendent should be charged here, and unless they can be placed properly into another function. 7300 school administrative office of the principal. Activities concerned with the directing, managing, operation of the particular school function includes the activities performed by the principal, assistant principal, other assistants, the general supervision, all operations of the school, evaluations of the staff members of school with assignments of the duties, staff members, supervision, maintenance of the records of the school, coordination of the school instruction activities with the instructional activities of the school system includes the clerical staff of these activities, bookkeeping associated with the processing time, and the reports of Title I, personal working additional hours, the Table 1, Part 2A, school improvement grant programs. 74 facilities acquisition construction activities concerned with the acquisition of land, buildings, remodeling buildings, construction of building additions, initial installation, extensions of service systems, other built-in equipment, improvements to the site and the functions is not limited to purchase may be in the capital of funds. 74010 facility acquisition or construction current expeditionary. 7420 facility acquisition construction capital outlay. 7500 official service activities concerned with the official operation of the school. The function includes the budgeting, receiving, disbursing cash, financial accounting, payroll, inventory control, internal auditing, investment in funds, managing and internal audit staff who do not report to the district school board should be included in this function. Independent auditors and auditors who report directly to the district school board should be encoded with this function. 7100. 7600 food services activities concerned with the providing the students and staff in the school system or school system staff in school or school system. The function includes the preparation and service of the regulatory incident meals, lunches, snacks, and connection with the school activities, delivery of food purchases, service outside of the school district's denied food services program must be charged as purchase services, other applicable functions. 7700 central service activities other than general administrative that supports other instruction supporting services programs. These activities are defined in following subfunctions. 7710 planning, research, development, evaluation services, system-wide activities associated with the conducting, managing programs of the planning, the research, development, and evaluation planning services, including the selecting and identifying overall long-range goals and priorities. Research services include systematic studies of the various aspects of the education and development services, including the deliberate evolving process of the improving educational programs. Evaluation services judging any outcome based on established goals. 7720 under central services. Information services activities concerned with writing, editing, or other preparation necessary to disseminate educational administrative information to students, staff, managers, general public through the directing mail, various news medias, and email, the internet, and personal contact. 7730 Personnel activities. Activities concerned with the maintaining efficient personnel of school districts, including such activities as supervision, requirements, replacement, staff, transfers, maintenance of personnel information, health services, position control. Health services are medical services provided with the school district employees, including the physical examinations, emergency care, and service training, including seminars, conferences, and continuing professional education and tuition. Reimbursement and all other activities related to ongoing growth and development in non-instructional personnel must be recorded as a cost of the function. 774, these are functional codes. Functional code for 7740 is statistical services activities concerned by the manipulating, relating, and described statistical information. 7760 internal services activities concerned with the purchasing, receiving, storing, distribution, supplies, furniture, and equipment, duplicated printing of the district school board, mail room, and the courier services. 77090 other central activities. 7800 student transportation services activities associated with the transportation of students to and from school, activities either between home and school, from the school to on trips for circular on or co-curricular activities. Expenditures for the administrative of the student transportation services are recorded under these accounts together with the student transportation services expenditures. The transportation expenditures not related to student transportation services should be reported in a function related to the purpose of this expenditure. 7900 operation of the plant. The activities concerned about the keeping the physical plant open and the ready use of the major components of the failure functions at all your utilities, including telephone service and custodial costs, building, rent, insurance costs associated with the school's building, the function including the cleaning, disinfection, moving furniture, routine maintenance of the grounds, providing schools crossing guard security, other such activities that are performed on daily, weekly, and monthly or seasonal basis. Operation of the plant does not encompass repairs, replacement of the facilities, equipment, thus as custodian should be charged to this function unless the error can be operated properly to another function. 8100 maintenance of a plant. Activities that are concerned with the maintaining of the grounds, buildings, equipment, and an acceptable level of efficiency for the repairs of the preventing maintenance. And note, the equipment and repair services that are direct costs of the specific programs within the FFEP shall be charged with the function instruction of the function 5000 when the amount of such a service is material in relation to the cost of the programs. Equipment repair services rendered for the function of the food service function 7600. Student transportation services 7800. Function 7800 as to be charged with these functions. The routine maintenance of visual equipment should be charged to the instructional media service function 6200. Other equipment repairs may be charged to function 8100. The maintenance labor forces that are used in the construction facilities that costs should be classified in function 7400. 8200 Administrative Technology Services activities concerned with the supporting school district information technology system, including the supporting administrative networks, maintaining administrative information in systems, and processing data of administrative managerial purposes. The activities include expenditure for the internal technology support as well as support provided by the external vendors when using the operating of the funds. The activities including the costs associated with the administrative supervision of the technology personnel system and planning. Analysis, system application development, system operation, network support, hardware maintenance, and the support services, other technically related administrative costs. 9100 community services. Community service consists of other activities that are not related to providing the education for the school unit in the school system. This includes the provided the school system for the community as whole, as sub-segments of the community, such as community recreation programs, civic activities, public libraries programs, the custody and care of the children, financial aid, custom community welfare activities. The function does not include instructional pay programs. Fee-supported instructional programs should be coded to the function 5500. 9200 debit services to record expenditures related to issuance of retired of the debit, including issuance fees, principal, interest payments, and other debt-related expenditures. 9299 issuance discounts, payments to escrow agents to record other financing uses associated with the original issuance of refunding to the debt. 9700 transfer non-reciprocal interfund activities represented by the disbursement of cash or goods for the one fund within the school district to another fund with an equivalent return without a requirement for the payment. 99 priority expenses to record operating expenses for the enterprise and the internal services and funds. Facilities. Florida law requires financial reporting on the school basis according to section 1003.01.2 federal state statutes. A school is defined as an organization of students who have an instructional purpose of an elementary, middle, or junior high school, or secondary or high school, or other public school level authorized under the rules of the State Board of Education. In many instances, facilities and synonymous with school accounting for the financial transaction of the school district will require the identification numbers of the facility of the cost centers that are not schools. However, the operating costs associated with such centers will be attributed to school on program cost reports. Four-digit numbers for schools are assigned by the Department of Education. Administrative departments are designated by the 9000 series of numbers. The program, see Section 1010.20 of the Federal State Statutes, requires a program cost reporting. The reporting is to be accomplished as described in Chapter 5 of this manual. Official years. Official years denotes the 12-month period of time which the annual budget applies at the end of which the school system determines the financial position of the results of its operations. A grant. Grant numbers are assigned by the Department of Education to control the reporting expenditure for the state and federal grants. The 5-character reporting field, the school district may elect to the crosswalk for a locally designed code structure. Project reporting. Last and final page of Chapter 4, Redbook. Dimensions used in the accounting of the expenditure of the specific program projects funded through the grants to account for the construction projects. This is a 5-character field. The school district may elect to crosswalk a locally designated code structure. The expenditure of the money received and recorded under the Revenue of the Act of 33344. The district discretionary lottery funds shall be recorded and reported using the code structure of the grant and the project reporting. Public educational programs purposes funded by the Educational Enhancement Trust Fund may include, but not limited to, the endowment and scholarship matching of the funds directly grants and research and economic development related to educational salary enhancement contracts with independent institutions to conduct programs consistent with the state and master plan of the post-secondary education and any other educational program deemed desirable by the legislature prior to the expenditure of these funds. Each of the school districts shall establish policies, procedures to define enhancement of the types of expenditures consistent with that definition. And that's the Red Book, Chapter 4. Funds and structure and expenditure counts. Red Book.